Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, High Priest 999 here, and this is the first video in a new series of content due to appear on my YouTube channel. Anyone that's previously followed me may have noticed that all my old content has now been removed. Like I say, this is the first video in some new stuff I'm working on. I've got a couple of other projects in the works, but I thought I would start off with this, which is obviously World of Tanks. Now, I've seen a few other people that I'm subscribed to doing casts of this, and it does seem to be a very popular game. It won the Golden Joystick Awards for 2012, beating League of Legends by a sizable margin. And like I say, been playing just over a year now, I believe, so I've had quite some time to accumulate a collection of tanks here. One of my favourites would probably be the American Heavy, the T29. It's tier 7 heavy, and for the tier it's probably one of the better tier 7s that you can get. The frontal turret armour there, 279, which if you find yourself a good spot on the map and get hull down, a lot of other tier 7s will have difficulty penetrating this front plate. I played a few tier 8 and tier 9 games, and there are even a few tier 8s that have trouble putting shots through here. You will notice it's very slightly spaced there, but not in a way that will particularly do much or give you any sort of advantage. But like I say, this is probably one of my favourite tanks. It's one that I've had in my garage the longest, 735 games in it, Ace Mastery badge. My crew are halfway through the 3rd skill set, so we'll jump straight into a game with this. Now, you may notice here my loading screen is full of lovely colourful statistics. That's from the XVM mod. It's quite a handy little mod, but I wouldn't put too much faith in it to tell you accurately how good a player is. It only runs off of the game statistics like hit ratio or battles survived, things like that. It can't really account for human ingenuity, but a quick glance at it does give you a general idea of which players can be relied on to play smart and work as a team, and which ones are likely to just charge off to their own sad demise. Like I say, you know, we're in a tier 9 game this time, but if we play things properly we shouldn't have too much of a problem. We've just got to remember that in a high tier game like this we are not one of the frontline tanks. We want to wait for some of the other heavies to get into position first really, and then sit back on the second battle line and take harassing pot shots at people. Let's see if we can give this T95 a bit of a push here. It's a bit slow, and I do believe I can just about fire over the top of him. It's a nice meat shield in front of me. There we go, he said thanks for the push, so we'll give him the old affirmative there. It's often a pretty good tactic for getting people places they couldn't otherwise have got to quick enough on their own, which can obviously provide some of that much needed fire support. We're just going to roll along slowly with him and try and help keep him covered. Oh, looks like this chaffee might pop out here. We've got an AMX as well. Couple of mediums and heavies down that way. Tiger 2 racing across there. Oh, just managed to clip him with a shot there. The one thing I have noticed as a problem with this game is a lot of players tend to get tunnel vision, by which I mean, you know, a couple of enemies will pop up like this and their sole focus will be on those enemies rather than what's happening elsewhere on the battlefield. You want to try and avoid that at all times if you can. It's good to keep situational awareness, otherwise you're likely to end up finding yourself getting flanked. Oh dear, we've stumbled out into the open a bit here really, but we've got some pretty good teammates. E50s running around the flank. Let's push back this way and make sure that T95 doesn't get raped from the back. I do apologise if the commentary starts to fall a bit short, but obviously I do have to put some focus into the game as well, otherwise I'm just going to find myself getting overrun all the time. But I will endeavour to make it as interesting as possible for you guys. That was a bad move, panic firing there. Although it doesn't look like this E50's noticed me, so we'll take that shot at his rear armour. Looks like it's to me to try and save the base and the artillery.
Enemy armor is destroyed.
And we'll take him out like that. The east side of the map here doesn't look like it's done too well. I'm going to push across this way. I mean, I know I said I'm not one of the frontline tanks in a tier 9 game, but you do what you can. It's all about teamwork and helping each other out. Although, from the looks of it, we've got a pretty competent team. There's only 5 enemies left, 2 of which are artillery. It looks like this pattern is going to try and... Oh, I thought he was going to try and come into the flag there, but he's gone the other way. So we'll help push down towards the enemy cap. Some of you may notice the graphics aren't particularly as good as they could be, and I'll be the first to admit my computer isn't brilliant. It's no super powered, you know, high profile stuff. It's just, I mean, it's 3 years old now. It's kind of getting on a bit, but I am working to a limited budget, so there you go, I suppose. It's just what I have to work with, and I do the best I can. Looks like we have this game pretty much locked down now though. I'm going to jump on the cap here and take some cap points, see if I can get sight on this Hummel. Missed him. Although the Super Pershing finished off the job there. I'm going to guess that the enemy artillery is across this way somewhere, probably shaking in his boots at the moment since we've destroyed the rest of his team. Oh, maybe not. It looks like they're both actually on our cap. But they're too late. We're going to have this captured before they manage to cap ours, so that looks like a GG. We will happily take that win, being a tier 7 in a tier 9 game. I do quite like the detailed report that they give you after a battle. One of my primary things I look at is the amount of damage I've caused, as any World of Tanks player will tell you that's been playing for a while. Doesn't matter how many enemies you destroy, it's the damage you inflict that earns you your credits and your experience. I would much rather hit 5 different enemies once than hit one enemy 5 times and destroy them, because the chances are hitting 5 different enemies once will yield much more in the way of credits and XP. One of the things I would suggest to anyone that doesn't already play or has only just started playing World of Tanks is, if you can, you want to try and buy at least one premium tank, because when you get into the higher tier matches, it is going to start costing you a lot of credits to run your tanks, especially if you don't have premium. As you can see, I've got a couple of premiums. I've got my Churchill 3 here, I've had that for quite a while. The Matilda 4. We've got the T14, had that one quite a while as well. But the tanks I would currently be working on, I'm going up both tech lines for the British tree, both the medium and the heavy there, the Cromwell and the Churchill respectively. Both heavy lines for the Germans, although I've got to say I prefer the Tiger II over the VK. The Tiger II strikes me as more of a frontline tank, whereas the VK's one of the sit back and snipe kind of tanks. It's definitely not your first line. You don't want to be charging in with that thing because you will just get shredded. Likewise, I'm working on both my heavy lines for the Soviet tech tree here, the IS-3, and I've got my ST-1. Although this ST-1 at the moment is still ridiculously stock, both the gun and the turret. I'm unfortunately still having to suffer with the 122 here, so we'll jump into a game with that and see if we can earn a bit more XP towards upgrading some of those modules. For anyone that's interested, I will put a link for XVM in the description, as I'm sure some of you will probably ask about that if I don't do it. Like I say, it's not to be relied on too heavily, but it just gives you a general idea of which players are smart tacticians and which players are just complete idiots, I suppose. You know, I don't profess to be a particularly good gamer myself in tanks or any other game that I play, but I'm certainly not as bad as some people. So, well, make of that what you will, I suppose. I would rate myself as average, I guess. Mediocre. You know, I'm not, certainly not pro, but I'd like to think I'm not a complete and utter asshat either. Especially if I'm playing a game like this, I tend to look at how the team disperses and try and fill any weak points in the defence or whatnot, as any good tactician would. The less weaknesses you have, the more chance you have of success, obviously. But yeah, it looks like we have a pretty good spread overall here, so we'll just push up this way and support the other teammates that are crossing the railroad. here. Looks like there's quite a heavy focus there over in the town, which theoretically should make it a bit easier to push this direction, although there we go, we've got the first enemy lighting up there, the Young Tiger 8.8. That's one of the premium tanks available. Very little resistance going this way. It looks like a good tactical decision to have come across here, and we're managing to push forward quite quickly, although that all depends on how our teammates can hold the city there. Hopefully we can rush in and cause some havoc here before they get a chance to do anything. I'm going to be pretty careful coming around here. Like I say, I'm still running on a stock turret and a stock gun. Let's see if we can
We didn't even scratch them.
here. I didn't expect to be able to penetrate him with a stock gun.
One of our trucks is damaged. They got our loader.
Looks like the artillery's my
They blew off our
friend
truck.
at the
We're
moment.
stuck.
So let's pull back out of there, and hopefully the artillery is going to focus on someone else instead. Although they did manage to take out both my driver and my loader. Nope, it looks like they've still got a fancy for me. Do the best we can to take cover behind this train car and harass as best we can.
Penetration.
We'll put a shot through the side of him, let the ISU 152 finish him off. Comet in the back. Let's try and not get into that tunnel vision, like I say, keep a good situational awareness about you when you're playing.
Enemy is hit.
It's good to know what trouble the rest of the team are running into, or not running into. AMX-12T over here. Doesn't look like I can get a shot on him. Let's see if we can get another one out at that Comet over there. That artillery still wants to get me. Keeping as good a cover as I can behind this train cart here. Don't think I've got a shot on the low. Oh, might just clip his turret there, but I'm not going to risk that. We definitely need to try some sort of push here, because the rest of the team in the city doesn't appear to have done too well. Looks like artillery's giving a bit of fire support there, although the low can see
They're hit. We've lost a
through the
truck.
front of him. That Hummel keeps hitting me. He really wants to take me out.
Let's go.
Come on. That was a
They're
miss.
out. We're finished.
Damn artillery. Always the case in a heavy tank. You've got to be careful of where your focus goes. But unfortunately that game looks like a loss, so we're going to go back to the garage. But yes, as I say, this is the first video in one of a new line of content that I've got planned for the channel. So if you did enjoy this and you'd like to see more, or even if you'd just like to offer some advice on my casts, please hit that like button, hit subscribe, leave your comments below, and I will see you on the next one.